Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever noticed the remarkable strength and resilience of a woman who is comfortable in her own company? Such a woman possesses a rare quality that sets her apart. She is not dangerous in the sense of harm, but in her unwavering independence, her unyielding clarity of purpose, and her profound depth of thought. When a woman spends time alone, she is not merely avoiding others, she is investing in herself. In solitude, she sharpens her mind, nurtures her creativity, and cultivates an intimate understanding of her identity. She becomes someone who cannot be swayed by the fleeting opinions of the world, because she knows her worth does not depend on external validation. A woman who enjoys solitude is dangerous because she is free. She is not bound by the need to conform or to seek constant approval. Her freedom allows her to walk away from anything or anyone that compromises her values. She is a master of boundaries, not out of arrogance, but because she knows that her time, energy, and emotional well-being are sacred. Furthermore, such a woman is an astute observer. In her quiet moments, she learns to read people and situations with precision. She becomes a thinker, a strategist, and someone who does not act impulsively but with calculated intention. This makes her a force to be reckoned with, whether in personal relationships, professional endeavors, or broader societal interactions. Another aspect of her power lies in her ability to find fulfillment within herself. She does not depend on others to fill a void because there is no void. This inner wholeness makes her a dangerous presence in a world that often thrives on dependency, because she cannot be manipulated or controlled by promises of validation or material gain. And yet, this danger is not one of destruction, but of transformation. She challenges the status quo by embodying the idea that a person's value is not defined by their proximity to others. Her example forces us to rethink our own dependency, our own fears of solitude, and perhaps even our own purpose. It's important to understand that this woman is not isolated. She chooses solitude as a tool for growth, not as a retreat from the world. When she does engage, she does so with intentionality, bringing her full self into every interaction. She is not just a participant in life, but an architect of it. Ultimately, a woman who spends time alone is dangerous because she represents potential fully realized. She reminds us all of the power of self-knowledge and the strength that comes from embracing who we are, not who the world expects us to be. When a woman chooses to spend time alone, it becomes more than just an act of solitude. It becomes an intentional practice of self-growth and self-discovery. The modern world is full of noise, constant demands, endless comparisons, and a flood of external opinions. By stepping away from all of that, she creates a unique space for herself, a sanctuary where her thoughts and desires can unfold without interruption. This isn't just a passive state, it's an active process of refinement. Time alone gives her the opportunity to dive deep into her own mind. In solitude, she can explore her thoughts without judgment or influence. This is where true clarity is born. She starts to distinguish between what she truly values and what the world has conditioned her to believe she should value. This kind of self-reflection is rare because it requires courage to face oneself honestly. But a woman who chooses this path understands that the reward is worth the challenge. In those quiet moments, she begins to uncover who she truly is, and more importantly, who she is becoming. This process of self-discovery is not linear. It's often filled with moments of doubt, realizations, and even discomfort. However, it's precisely in this discomfort that growth happens. When she's alone, there's no one to distract her from confronting her weaknesses, her fears, and her unfulfilled aspirations. But instead of being overwhelmed by these realities, she uses them as stepping stones. She identifies what she needs to work on, what habits she needs to break, and what goals she needs to set. In essence, she takes ownership of her life in a way that few people dare to. One of the most transformative aspects of solitude is the way it sharpens her mind. When the distractions of daily life are stripped away, she can focus her energy on deep thinking and problem solving. She has the mental space to process ideas and analyze situations and develop a clear sense of direction. This makes her more decisive and less likely to be swayed by fleeting emotions or external pressures. Her mind becomes a powerful tool capable of cutting through confusion and chaos to arrive at what truly matters. Solitude also fuels creativity. When a woman spends time alone, she taps into a well of inspiration that often goes unnoticed in the rush of daily life. Without the noise of the outside world, her imagination is free to roam. She begins to see connections between ideas that others might overlook. This creativity isn't just limited to artistic pursuits. It extends to how she approaches challenges, relationships, and opportunities. She learns to think outside the box, to innovate, and to approach life with a sense of curiosity and wonder. In this process of growth, she also becomes deeply in tune with her intuition. Alone time allows her to listen to that inner voice that often gets drowned out in the hustle and bustle of life. She learns to trust her instincts, to recognize when something feels right or wrong, and to act accordingly. This connection to her intuition gives her an edge in navigating the complexities of life. She doesn't second-guess herself because she knows she has spent the time understanding who she is and what she stands for. Moreover, solitude fosters a sense of discipline and self-reliance. When she spends time alone, she learns to depend on herself for motivation and encouragement. There's no one else to push her forward or hold her accountable, so she takes on that responsibility herself. This discipline spills over into every aspect of her life, making her more resilient and focused. She becomes someone who can set goals and achieve them, not because she wants to prove something to others, but because she has a deep commitment to her own growth. In solitude, she also finds the time to care for her emotional and mental well-being. She can reflect on her experiences, process her emotions, and heal from past wounds. This self-care is not indulgent, it's essential. By taking the time to understand and nurture herself, she becomes stronger and more balanced. She learns to manage stress, to handle setbacks with grace, and to approach life with a sense of calm confidence. Perhaps most importantly, solitude allows her to define her own narrative. Instead of being shaped by the expectations of others, she writes her own story. She decides what success looks like for her, what kind of life she wants to lead, and what kind of person she wants to be. This sense of agency is incredibly empowering. It frees her from the need to seek approval or validation from others because she knows that her worth is not tied to external factors. In a world that often prioritizes constant connection and external achievement, a woman who spends time alone is making a radical choice. She is choosing to prioritize her inner world, to cultivate her mind, and to invest in her growth. This is not an easy path, but it is a profoundly rewarding one. Through solitude, she becomes someone who knows herself deeply, who thinks clearly, and who approaches life with a sense of purpose and strength that is both rare and admirable. When a woman learns to spend time alone, she unlocks the profound ability to develop independence and detach from the need for external validation. This is a transformative journey that reshapes the way she views herself and the world around her. In a society where many people are driven by the opinions of others and seek constant approval, her ability to find strength and fulfillment within herself sets her apart in a remarkable way. Spending time alone allows her to connect deeply with her own thoughts and feelings, unfiltered by the expectations of others. In this solitude, she learns to trust herself, her instincts, and her decisions. She begins to understand that her worth is not defined by what others think of her, but by the values she holds, the actions she takes, and the character she cultivates. This shift is incredibly powerful because it liberates her from the exhausting cycle of seeking external validation, where her happiness and self-esteem depend on others' opinions. The world often pressures people, particularly women, to conform to specific standards of beauty, success, and even behavior. A woman who spends time alone is able to step back from these societal narratives and ask herself what truly matters to her. She gains clarity about what she values, what brings her joy, and what aligns with her authentic self. By defining her own standards, she creates a life that is uniquely hers, free from the constraints of superficial expectations. One of the most empowering aspects of her independence is her ability to make decisions without hesitation or fear of judgment. When she no longer seeks approval, she gains the freedom to trust her own judgment and follow her intuition. This confidence in herself is not born out of arrogance, but from the deep self-awareness cultivated during her time alone. She learns to weigh her options, assess risks, and choose a path that feels right for her regardless of whether others agree or not. This independence also means she is not easily swayed by the opinions of others. In a world dominated by social media and constant comparisons, it's easy to get caught up in what other people are doing, achieving, or believing. But a woman who spends time alone is grounded in her own reality. She understands that her journey is unique, and she doesn't need to measure her success or happiness against anyone else's. This mindset protects her from the insecurities and anxieties that often come with constant comparison. Moreover, when she lets go of the need for external validation, she becomes emotionally self-sufficient. She does not rely on others to make her feel valued or complete. Instead, she cultivates an inner sense of worth that cannot be shaken by the opinions or actions of others. This emotional independence makes her resilient. When faced with criticism, rejection, or adversity, she is able to stand firm, because her sense of self is not tied to how others perceive her. This emotional self-sufficiency also extends to her relationships. A woman who does not seek validation from others enters relationships from a place of strength rather than need. She is not looking for someone to complete her or to fill a void; she is already whole. This dynamic changes the way she interacts with others. She does not settle for less than she deserves, nor does she stay in relationships that are toxic or unfulfilling. Her independence allows her to set healthy boundaries, knowing that she can walk away from anything that does not serve her well. Her independence, however, does not mean she isolates herself or avoids meaningful connections. On the contrary, it allows her to form deeper and more authentic relationships, When she no longer seeks validation from others, she is free to show up as her true self. She can connect with people based on mutual respect and shared values rather than out of a need for approval or affirmation. These connections are more genuine and fulfilling because they are built on authenticity rather than dependency. Another important aspect of her independence is her ability to take responsibility for her own happiness. She understands that it is not the job of others to make her happy, that responsibility lies with her alone. This realization empowers her to take control of her life. She actively pursues the things that bring her joy and fulfillment, whether it's a career, a creative passion, or simply the peace of a quiet morning. By doing so, she becomes the author of her own happiness rather than waiting for someone else to provide it. Ultimately, a woman who spends time alone and lets go of the need for external validation becomes a force to be reckoned with. She moves through life with a sense of purpose and confidence that is unshakable. Her independence allows her to navigate challenges with grace, to build relationships that uplift her, and to create a life that reflects her true self. She is not driven by the approval of others, but by her own values and aspirations. This is what makes her so extraordinary, her ability to find strength within herself, free from the limitations of societal expectations and external judgment. When a woman learns to spend time alone, one of the most profound transformations she undergoes is her ability to set and maintain strong personal boundaries. This is not merely a defensive mechanism to protect herself. It's a declaration of self-respect and self-awareness. Boundaries are often misunderstood as barriers, but in reality, they are the framework that allows her to live authentically and intentionally. They define how she interacts with the world, how she protects her time and energy, and how she prioritizes her well-being. Spending time alone gives her the clarity to understand her needs, values, and limits. In solitude, she reflects on what truly matters to her and gains insight into the areas of her life where she feels depleted, disrespected, or overwhelmed. This self-awareness becomes the foundation for her boundaries. She learns to recognize what she is willing to tolerate and what she is not, where her energy is best invested, and where it is being drained. By identifying these parameters, she takes the first step toward creating a life that aligns with her core values. A woman who spends time alone also learns the importance of prioritizing herself without guilt. Society often teaches women to be caretakers, to put others' needs before their own, and to equate selflessness with virtue. But solitude helps her challenge this narrative. She realizes that prioritizing her well-being is not selfish, it is necessary. She understands that she cannot pour from an empty cup, and that her ability to give to others is enhanced, not diminished, by setting boundaries that preserve her energy and peace of mind. These boundaries extend to her time, which she begins to view as one of her most valuable resources. When she spends time alone, she gains a deeper appreciation for how precious her time truly is. She understands that every moment spent on something unimportant is a moment taken away from her passions, goals, or well-being. As a result, she becomes intentional about where and with whom she invests her time. She learns to say no to obligations that do not serve her and yes to the things that truly matter. This shift allows her to focus on what brings her joy and fulfillment rather than feeling burdened by unnecessary commitments. Another critical aspect of her boundaries is emotional protection. Time alone allows her to process her feelings, understand her triggers, and identify the relationships or situations that leave her emotionally drained. She becomes attuned to the people and environments that uplift her versus those that bring negativity into her life. With this awareness, she sets limits on how much access others have to her emotions and energy. She learns to distance herself from toxic relationships and protect her mental health, understanding that she has the right to shield herself from harm. When she establishes these boundaries, she communicates her needs and limits with confidence and clarity. This is an essential skill because boundaries are only effective if they are clearly articulated. Spending time alone gives her the space to practice this communication, to overcome the fear of disappointing others, and to assert herself without hesitation. She realizes that saying no to someone else is often saying yes to herself, and that prioritizing her well-being is not something she needs to apologize for. These boundaries do not make her unapproachable or rigid. On the contrary, they make her more balanced and self-assured. By protecting her energy, time, and emotional health, she shows up fully in the areas of her life that matter most. She is able to give her best self to her work, her relationships, and her passions because she is not stretched thin by obligations or emotional baggage. Her boundaries create a sense of freedom and focus that allows her to thrive. Importantly, her boundaries also teach others how to treat her. When she sets clear limits and enforces them consistently, she sends a message that she values herself and expects others to do the same. This self-respect commands respect from others. It also sets a standard for the kind of relationship she is willing to maintain. She surrounds herself with people who honor her boundaries and who appreciate her for who she truly is, not for what they can take from her. Her boundaries are not just about saying no, they are also about defining her yes. By protecting herself from unnecessary distractions and draining interactions, she creates space for what truly matters. She is able to fully embrace the things that bring her joy, whether it's pursuing a passion, nurturing meaningful relationships, or simply enjoying the peace of solitude. Her boundaries become a way of curating her life, ensuring that it reflects her values and priorities. In maintaining strong boundaries, she also becomes a role model for others. Many people struggle with the idea of setting limits, fearing rejection or conflict. But when they see her living authentically, unapologetically, and with a deep sense of self-respect, they are inspired to do the same. Her boundaries are a testament to the power of self-awareness and self-worth, and they encourage others to prioritize their own well-being as well. Ultimately, her boundaries are not a wall but a filter, allowing in what nourishes her and keeping out what does not. They are an act of self-love and self-preservation, born from the clarity and strength she gains in solitude. By setting and maintaining these boundaries, she creates a life that is not just lived but intentionally crafted, a life that honors her values, protects her energy, and reflects her deepest sense of self. A woman who spends time alone develops the rare ability to become an astute observer. Solitude creates the perfect environment for her to hone her skills of perception and awareness. In the absence of constant external stimulation, sharpens her focus and begins to see the world and the people in it with a level of clarity that many overlook. This ability to keenly observe and interpret the subtleties of life makes her incredibly insightful, strategic, and prepared to navigate a complex world. When she steps away from the noise of social interactions and daily distractions, she gives herself the gift of paying attention. Time alone teaches her to observe details that others might miss: body language, tone of voice, and the unspoken dynamics in a room. Without the need to participate in every conversation or be the center of attention, she becomes a quiet, deliberate observer of human behavior. She notices patterns in how people interact, and she learns to read between the lines. This awareness allows her to understand others on a deeper level, often sensing what they truly mean rather than what they say. This heightened observational skill extends beyond people to situations and environments. Alone time fosters her ability to assess circumstances objectively. She learns to recognize opportunities and risks with precision because she has trained herself to look beneath the surface. In social settings, professional environments, or even during personal decision-making, she is rarely caught off guard. Her solitude gives her the space to analyze and think critically, enabling her to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. This makes her a strategist, someone who can assess a situation from all angles and act with intentionality. Solitude also deepens her ability to listen. In a world that often prioritizes speaking over hearing, she understands the value of silence. By spending time alone, she becomes comfortable with quietness both externally and internally. This allows her to listen not just to others but also to herself. She tunes into her intuition and learns to trust her inner voice, which guides her through decisions and challenges. Her ability to listen to her own instincts makes her discerning, able to filter out the noise of outside influences and focus on what truly matters. Another key aspect of her observational skill lies in her ability to connect the dots. Solitude fosters creativity and deep thinking, which enables her to see patterns in relationships between seemingly unrelated ideas or events. This ability to synthesize information makes her innovative and resourceful. She becomes someone who can solve problems in ways that others might not consider, drawing on her keen understanding of people, systems, and dynamics. Whether in her personal life, career, or creative pursuits, this skill sets her apart as someone who brings unique perspectives to the table. Her observational abilities are not just analytical, but also empathetic. Spending time alone allows her to reflect on her own emotions and experiences, which deepens her understanding of others. She becomes skilled at recognizing the feelings and motivations of those around her, even when they are not explicitly expressed. This emotional intelligence enables her to connect with people on a meaningful level. Her empathy does not make her vulnerable to manipulation. Instead, it strengthens her ability to navigate relationships with clarity and purpose. She understands when to offer support and when to establish boundaries, always maintaining a balance between compassion and self-respect. Her ability to observe and analyze also makes her highly adaptable. Solitude gives her the time to think ahead, anticipate challenges, and prepare for the unexpected. She becomes someone who can read the energy of a room, assess the mood of a situation, and adjust her approach accordingly. This adaptability is not a sign of inconsistency, but a testament to her ability to remain grounded while navigating change. She is neither rigid nor easily swayed. She moves through life with a steady sense of awareness and purpose. Additionally, her observational skills enhance her decision-making. A woman who spends time alone is not quick to jump to conclusions or make rash choices. She takes the time to gather information, analyze her options, and weigh the potential outcomes. This thoughtful approach allows her to make decisions with confidence, knowing that she has considered all angles. Her decisions are not driven by emotion or external pressure, but by a clear understanding of what aligns with her goals and values. Her observational prowess also extends to herself. Alone time provides her with the opportunity to reflect on her own behaviors, patterns, and choices. She becomes aware of her strengths, weaknesses, and areas for growth. This self-awareness allows her to continually evolve and improve, ensuring that she remains aligned with her true self. She becomes her own greatest observer, holding herself accountable and striving to live with authenticity and integrity. Ultimately, her ability to observe and interpret the world around her becomes one of her greatest strengths. It empowers her to navigate relationships, challenges, and opportunities with wisdom and precision. She sees what others often overlook and understands what others struggle to grasp. Her time alone sharpens her mind, deepens her empathy, and strengthens her intuition, making her not only a keen observer but also a force of insight and influence in every sphere of her life. When a woman spends time alone, she cultivates an unparalleled emotional resilience that becomes a cornerstone of her strength. In solitude, she confronts her thoughts, feelings, and fears without distraction, learning to process them independently. This process transforms her into someone who is not only capable of navigating life's challenges but thrives in doing so. Emotional resilience, born from solitude, gives her the ability to weather storms, recover from setbacks, and maintain her sense of self in a world that can often be chaotic and overwhelming. Time alone provides her with the space to reflect deeply on her emotions. When she steps away from the distractions and demands of social life, she is forced to sit with her feelings, no matter how uncomfortable they may be. This confrontation is not easy, but it is transformative. It allows her to identify the root causes of her emotions, whether they stem from past experiences, current circumstances, or future anxieties. By understanding the why behind her feelings, she gains a sense of control over them, rather than being controlled by them. This emotional self-awareness is a powerful tool. It enables her to recognize patterns in her behavior and responses, which is the first step toward growth. She begins to see how certain triggers affect her and how she might react differently in the future. Instead of suppressing her emotions or ignoring them, she processes them in a healthy and constructive way. This ability to face her feelings head-on makes her stronger and more equipped to handle the emotional complexities of life. Spending time alone also teaches her to self-soothe. In solitude, she realizes that she does not need to rely on others to regulate her emotions or provide comfort. This independence is not about rejecting support, but about building an inner foundation that she can rely on when external help is not available. Whether it's through journaling, meditating, creating art, or simply sitting quietly with her thoughts, she discovers strategies to calm her mind and regain her balance. These practices become her anchors, helping her stay grounded even in the face of uncertainty or adversity. Through solitude, she also learns that discomfort is not something to be feared but embraced. Life inevitably presents challenges, and the ability to sit with discomfort is what allows her to grow through them. When she spends time alone, she confronts the discomfort of her own thoughts, memories, and insecurities. Instead of avoiding these feelings, she learns to navigate them with grace. This builds her emotional resilience, as she becomes comfortable with the idea that growth often requires facing and working through pain. This resilience also manifests in her ability to recover from setbacks. When things don't go as planned, she does not crumble or lose her sense of self-worth. Her time alone has taught her that failure and rejection are not reflections of her value but opportunities for learning and improvement. She analyzes her setbacks objectively, extracting lessons that she can apply moving forward. This perspective allows her to bounce back stronger, using each challenge as a stepping stone toward success. Solitude enhances her ability to manage stress. The world can be overwhelming, filled with constant demands and pressures. However, a woman who spends time alone learns to create a sanctuary within herself. She develops habits and routines that help her decompress and recharge, whether it's through mindfulness, exercise, or simply taking a walk in nature. These practices not only help her manage stress in the moment, but also build her capacity to handle future challenges with calm and clarity. Emotional resilience also strengthens her relationships. A woman who has spent time alone and worked through her emotions does not project her insecurities onto others. She does not depend on others to fill emotional voids or validate her feelings. Instead, she enters relationships from a place of wholeness and self-assurance. This makes her a better partner, friend, and family member, as she can offer support without losing herself in the process. Her emotional independence allows her to set healthy boundaries and communicate her needs effectively, fostering relationships built on mutual respect and understanding. Another aspect of her emotional resilience is her ability to maintain perspective. Time alone teaches her to step back from immediate reactions and view situations with a wider lens. She understands that difficult moments are often temporary and that they do not define her. This perspective helps her stay grounded during turbulent times, enabling her to make decisions based on logic and clarity rather than being swept away by emotion. Her emotional resilience is further strengthened by the confidence she gains in solitude. When she spends time alone, she learns to trust herself, her instincts, her judgment, and her ability to overcome challenges. This trust becomes a source of inner strength, giving her the courage to face life's uncertainties with determination and optimism. She knows that no matter what comes her way, she has the tools and the fortitude to navigate it. Ultimately, her emotional resilience becomes a defining feature of her character. It allows her to move through life with grace and strength, adapting to challenges while staying true to herself. Solitude is the crucible in which this resilience is forged, turning her into someone who not only survives but thrives no matter what life throws her way. When a woman spends time alone, she embarks on a journey of self-discovery, one that allows her to explore her passions and goals with a clarity and depth that is hard to achieve in the midst of constant external noise. Solitude offers her the space and freedom to reflect on what truly matters to her, away from societal expectations, peer pressures, and the influence of others. This self-directed exploration gives her the power to define her ambitions, align her life with her authentic self, and pursue her passions unapologetically. In solitude, she begins to ask herself important questions. What do I truly want out of life? What brings me joy? What kind of legacy do I want to leave behind? These questions are not easy to answer, and they require a level of introspection that is only possible in moments of quiet reflection. Away from distractions, she can dig deep into her desires, interests, and dreams, uncovering layers of herself that she might not have known existed. She learns to separate what she truly wants from what others expect of her, which is a critical step toward living authentically. This process of self-discovery often leads her to identify her passions, the things that make her feel alive and fulfilled. Whether it's a creative pursuit, a career goal, a personal hobby, or a cause she deeply believes in, she gains the clarity to recognize what resonates with her soul. Spending time alone allows her to explore these interests without fear of judgment or comparison. She experiments, tries new things, and learns what excites and motivates her. This freedom to explore is a vital part of discovering her unique path in life. As she connects with her passions, she also gains the focus and determination to set meaningful goals. Time alone provides her with the opportunity to think strategically about her future. She considers where she wants to be in the next year, 5 years, or even a decade, and she begins to map out the steps needed to get there. This planning is not rushed or influenced by external pressures. It is thoughtful, intentional, and aligned with her values. Her goals are not about meeting societal benchmarks or impressing others. They are about fulfilling her potential and living a life that feels true to her. Solitude also gives her the discipline to work toward her goals. Without the distractions of constant socializing or external validation, she can dedicate her energy to what truly matters. She learns to prioritize her time and focus on the tasks that will bring her closer to her aspirations. This sense of discipline is empowering because it reinforces her ability to take control of her life. She is no longer waiting for opportunities to come to her. She is actively creating them. Furthermore, spending time alone allows her to develop resilience and adaptability, two qualities that are essential for pursuing passions and achieving goals. She learns to face challenges head-on and to persist even when the path is difficult. Solitude teaches her that setbacks are not failures but opportunities to learn and grow. With this mindset, she becomes unstoppable, continually refining her approach and pushing forward with unwavering determination. Her journey of exploring passions and goals in solitude also fosters creativity. When she is alone, free from the constraints of others' opinions and the noise of daily life, her mind is free to wander. This mental freedom often leads to bursts of inspiration and innovation. Whether she is writing, painting, problem-solving, or brainstorming new ideas, her creativity flourishes in the quiet moments. She begins to see possibilities where others see limitations and finds unique ways to express herself and pursue her dreams. In addition to discovering her own aspirations, solitude allows her to reconnect with her inner motivations. She learns what drives her and why. This understanding is crucial because it gives her the strength to keep going even when the journey becomes challenging. Her motivation is not dependent on external rewards or recognition. It comes from within. This intrinsic drive is what sets her apart, enabling her to stay committed to her path regardless of external circumstances. As she spends more time exploring her passions and working toward her goals, she also becomes more self-confident. Each step she takes, each milestone she achieves, reinforces her belief in her abilities. She realizes that she is capable of shaping her own life and that she has the power to turn her dreams into reality. This confidence radiates outward, inspiring others to pursue their own paths with the same level of courage and determination. Finally, her exploration of passions and goals in solitude allows her to define success on her own terms. She is no longer bound by conventional definitions of achievement or societal expectations. Instead, she creates a vision of success that reflects her unique values, desires, and priorities. This individualized approach to success brings her a sense of fulfillment and satisfaction that cannot be achieved by following someone else's blueprint. In solitude, she discovers not only what she wants, but also who she is. This clarity, combined with her passion and determination, makes her a formidable force. She is no longer living passively or reacting to the world around her. She is actively creating a life that is meaningful, purposeful, and aligned with her deepest self. Through the quiet power of solitude, she becomes the architect of her own destiny. When a woman spends time alone, she develops a profound sense of independence that shapes her approach to life, relationships, and challenges. This independence is not merely about self-reliance, but about building an unshakable foundation of confidence and self-trust. She learns to navigate the world on her own terms, make decisions without external validation, and embrace the freedom that comes from being comfortable in her own company. In solitude, she discovers that she is her own best ally, capable of creating a fulfilling life without relying on others to define her worth or direction. Time alone gives her the opportunity to understand her own needs and desires. Away from the influence of others, she becomes acutely aware of what truly makes her happy and what she values most. This self-awareness is the cornerstone of independence. She no longer looks to external sources to determine her path or measure her success. Instead, she trusts her intuition and inner voice to guide her. This trust in herself becomes a source of strength, allowing her to move through life with confidence and clarity. Solitude also teaches her the importance of self-reliance. She learns that she can handle life's challenges without always needing to lean on others. Whether it's solving a problem, managing her emotions, or pursuing her goals, she becomes adept at finding solutions and overcoming obstacles on her own. This ability to rely on herself fosters a sense of empowerment that is both liberating and grounding. She realizes that while support from others is valuable, her greatest resource is her own resilience and determination. This independence extends to her decision-making. A woman who spends time alone develops the ability to make choices without being swayed by external opinions or societal pressures. She learns to evaluate her options based on her values and long-term goals rather than seeking approval or avoiding conflict. This decisiveness is a testament to her confidence in her own judgment. She no longer second-guesses herself or feels the need to justify her decisions to others. Her choices are rooted in authenticity, reflecting who she is and what she stands for. In her independence, she also becomes comfortable with solitude itself. Many people fear being alone, equating it with loneliness or a lack of connection. However, a woman who spends time alone reframes solitude as a source of strength and renewal. She understands that being alone is not the same as being lonely. It is a deliberate choice to invest in herself. In these moments of quiet, she finds peace, clarity, and inspiration. Her ability to enjoy her own company becomes a testament to her self-assuredness and emotional maturity. This independence does not mean she isolates herself or avoids relationships. On the contrary, it allows her to approach relationships from a place of strength rather than need. She does not rely on others to complete her or fill emotional voids because she is already whole. This wholeness enables her to form healthier, more balanced connections. She enters relationships as an equal partner, offering support and companionship without losing herself in the process. Her independence sets a standard for mutual respect and authenticity, creating relationships that are built on trust rather than dependency. Financial independence is another critical aspect of her growth. Time alone often leads her to reflect on her goals and priorities, including her career and financial well-being. She becomes determined to build a life where she is in control of her resources, free from reliance on anyone else. This financial autonomy gives her the freedom to make decisions that align with her values and aspirations. It allows her to invest in her passions, support causes she believes in, and create a future that reflects her vision. Her independence also manifests in her ability to set boundaries. A woman who spends time alone understands the importance of protecting her time, energy, and emotional well-being. She learns to say no to things that do not serve her and to prioritize her own needs without guilt. This boundary setting is not about shutting people out, but about ensuring that her relationships and commitments are aligned with her values. Her independence gives her the confidence to enforce these boundaries, knowing that she does not need to compromise her well-being for the sake of pleasing others. Independence fosters creativity and innovation as well. When she spends time alone, she is free to explore her ideas without judgment or interruption. She becomes more attuned to her inner thoughts and gains the confidence to think outside the box. Whether she's pursuing a creative project, solving a problem, or envisioning her future, her independence allows her to approach challenges with originality and boldness. She is not constrained by conventional thinking or the expectations of others, which makes her a trailblazer in her own right. Finally, her independence creates a sense of freedom that is both empowering and fulfilling. She is not tied to societal norms, toxic relationships, or external expectations. She has the autonomy to design her life in a way that reflects her true self. This freedom is not about avoiding responsibilities, but about embracing the responsibility of living authentically. She knows that her happiness, success, and fulfillment are in her hands, and she takes ownership of that truth. Through her independence, she becomes a model of strength and self-assurance. She inspires others to embrace their own autonomy and to recognize the power that comes from trusting oneself. Her independence is not just a personal victory, it is a statement of what is possible when a woman invests in herself and her potential. It is a quiet, unyielding strength that shapes every aspect of her life, allowing her to thrive on her own terms. When a woman spends time alone, she cultivates a sense of self-worth that is deeply rooted in her own values and intrinsic identity, rather than external validation. Solitude provides her with the opportunity to reflect on who she is, what she stands for, and why she matters independent of societal standards, relationships, or achievements. This internal foundation of self-worth becomes her anchor, enabling her to navigate life with confidence and authenticity. It is a quiet yet profound strength that transforms the way she views herself and interacts with the world. In solitude, she learns to separate her self-worth from external measures of success. In a world that often equates value with accomplishments, beauty, or popularity, spending time alone allows her to redefine these standards for herself. She realizes that her worth is not tied to how much she achieves, how she looks, or how others perceive her. Instead, she begins to see her inherent value as a human being, something that does not fluctuate based on external circumstances. This understanding gives her a sense of peace and stability, as her self-esteem is no longer at the mercy of societal expectations or external judgments. Time alone also allows her to confront her insecurities and fears. In the quiet moments, she faces the doubts and negative beliefs that may have taken root over time. Rather than running from them or masking them with distraction, she acknowledges and examines them. This process can be uncomfortable, but it is necessary for growth. By addressing her insecurities head-on, she begins to dismantle the false narratives that have held her back. She replaces them with a more empowering and compassionate view of herself, rooted in truth rather than fear. Through solitude, she develops a deeper understanding of her strengths and unique qualities. Away from the noise of comparison and competition, she gains clarity about what makes her special. She reflects on her skills, talents, and the positive impact she has on others. This self-awareness builds her confidence and reinforces her belief in her own abilities. She begins to see herself as capable, resourceful, and deserving of the opportunities and success that come her way. Her self-worth becomes tied to her authentic self rather than external validation or fleeting accomplishments. Solitude also helps her build a strong relationship with herself. She becomes her own advocate, supporter, and friend. In the absence of external voices, she learns to listen to her inner voice and honor her needs and desires. She treats herself with kindness and respect, recognizing that she is deserving of the same compassion she offers to others. This self-compassion is a powerful force that helps her navigate challenges and setbacks with resilience. Instead of being overly critical or harsh with herself, she becomes her own source of encouragement and strength. This deep sense of self-worth influences every aspect of her life, including her relationships. A woman who values herself does not settle for less than she deserves. She is able to set boundaries and communicate her needs effectively, ensuring that her relationships are built on mutual respect and understanding. She does not tolerate toxic or one-sided dynamics because she knows her worth and refuses to compromise it. Her self-assuredness attracts healthy, balanced connections where she is valued for who she truly is. Her self-worth also gives her the courage to pursue her dreams and ambitions without hesitation. She does not wait for external approval or permission to go after what she wants. Instead, she trusts her instincts and believes in her ability to achieve her goals. This confidence is not arrogance, but a quiet assurance that comes from knowing her value and potential. She does not shy away from challenges or opportunities because she knows she is capable of rising to the occasion. Furthermore, her self-worth empowers her to embrace her imperfections. She understands that being flawed does not make her any less valuable, it simply makes her human. Instead of striving for perfection, she focuses on growth and self-improvement. She is kind to herself when she makes mistakes, viewing them as opportunities to learn rather than as failures. This mindset allows her to move through life with grace and authenticity, unburdened by the pressure to be perfect. Her sense of self-worth also influences how she contributes to the world around her. A woman who values herself recognizes the unique gifts and perspectives she brings to the table. She is not afraid to share her voice, take up space, and make a difference, whether it's in her career, community, or personal relationships. She approaches her contributions with confidence and purpose. She knows that her presence matters and that she has the power to create positive change. Lastly, her self-worth allows her to find joy and fulfillment in the present moment. She does not constantly seek external validation or chase after unattainable ideals. Instead, she appreciates who she is and what she has, finding contentment in the here and now. This sense of gratitude and inner peace enhances her overall well-being, allowing her to live a life that feels meaningful and aligned with her values. Ultimately, a woman who spends time alone discovers that her worth is not something that can be given or taken away by others. It is an intrinsic part of who she is, grounded in her authenticity, strengths, and values. This unshakable self-worth becomes her foundation, enabling her to face life's challenges with confidence, build meaningful relationships, and pursue her dreams with courage and determination. It is a quiet but powerful realization that transforms her from within, making her a force to be reckoned with in every aspect of her life. In a world that often distracts and demands, a woman who chooses solitude cultivates a quiet but formidable power. Through time spent alone, she sharpens her mind, discovers her passions, sets meaningful goals, and fosters independence. She learns to embrace her complexities, deepen her sense of self-worth, and establish boundaries that protect her well-being. This process of introspection and self-empowerment transforms her into a force of resilience and authenticity, someone who moves through life with clarity, purpose, and an unwavering connection to her true self. A woman who spends time alone is not dangerous in the traditional sense, but she is a beacon of strength, unafraid to stand tall in her truth and inspire others to do the same. Her power lies not in her solitude alone, but in the self-awareness and inner peace she discovers there, making her a catalyst for growth, transformation, and change wherever she goes.